lot of our courses did not even have exams. It was all about assignments, writing your research papers.
Civil engineering, it's a core engineering stream. What made you shift into, say, the construction management field? How did you come across that field? Job hunting process, like how was it? It's not typical campus placements, although there are career fairs.
And a lot of people also discouraged me to not pursue this in the US because there won't be any jobs for civil engineers in the US.
Can you give us a little bit information about your MS Construction Management course? What did you get to learn? How was it different from the kind of education you got in India, etc.?
I knew what not to do. I knew I did not want to join one of the firms in India and go
Hmm.
through all the rat race.
That is like a phenomenal student journey story.
So one major difference that I noticed in the education system or the college courses in the US and in India would be, is my audio good?
The audio is great. Audio is great.
Okay.
All right. All right. Hi everyone. Today we have Puja joining us. She pursued her MS in construction management and she's currently working for Big D. Today she's gonna. I mean, thank you so much for joining in on a Saturday on a weekend morning. I hope you had a great cup of coffee. Because this is going to be a slightly long conversation about, there are many students who want to know about construction management field, got a ton of questions. Let's dive in. Could you start with, telling us more about what you currently do, and then we can learn from there on.
So, like Jay did a good job introducing Jay or Surya. I'll keep switching your
No
name
problem.
throughout the
No problem. No
interview.
problem.
So like Jay introduced me, I did my master's in construction management and I been working with Big D Constructions for the past 2 years.
Mhm.
They are a construction firm based out of Salt Lake City, Utah, and
Mm.
they have their legs spreading everywhere currently.
Wow.
Um, so my role, what I would call is a project engineer.
Hmm.
Um, I had an undergrad degree in civil engineering, and I believe
Right.
like most of the audience that will be watching this interview.
Yeah.
But the position project engineer is does not involve a lot of engineering, like the
Hmm.
title says.
Right.
I would mostly say that it's a project manager in training position and
Mm-hmm.
very little engineering involved.
Great. Let's step back a little. Like before you started your MS in construction management, I think you were here in India pursuing bachelor's in civil engineering, right? So
Mhm.
what made you like civil engineering? It's a core engineering stream. What made you shift into, say, the construction management field? How did you come across that field, etc.?
So here I am, 2019, completed my undergrad in civil engineering.
Right.
Hopelessly clueless what to do with my life next.
Right.
I knew what not to do. I knew I did not want to join one of the firms in India and go
Mm.
through all the rat race because
Mm-hmm.
it's very hard to get a job. And then once you
Mm.
get a job, it's a very harsh environment, very
Mm,
strict
mm,
work hours, no personal life. So I knew I did not want to do that. But at the same time, I did not know what to do. So I was applying for some design schools, and at the same time, I came across this video of Path Vijayvargiya, the OG guide to construction management. I believe everybody's watched his videos. And yeah, that was my saving grace. And then I realized that acha, even in US, you can go to pursue construction management, like people from civil engineering can get a master's in US. Because before that, it was all like computer science students going, and you had so many people talking about that, consultants guiding computer science students. And even if you knew a family member or somebody you would reach out to, they would just talk about, oh, the computer science industry is nice in the US, and we don't know much about construction, or there's no jobs. And a lot of people also discouraged me to not pursue this in the US because there won't be any jobs for civil engineers in the US. I think that's a lot of misguidance out there, at least back in that time. I hope things have changed now with more awareness about the program. So after watching his videos, Path's videos, I decided, okay, so this is a program, and I can pursue it with the undergrad in civil engineering. And and as a civil engineer, I was interested in structures. I was interested in water resource engineering, but at that time, I did not have any guidance about what the prospects of these courses in the US would be like. What I saw was construction management, and I was like, "Acha chalo, I'll just apply to this course in this university, and these are all the universities, and let me just apply and go there. And looks like I'll find a job, and I can also manage my visa situation on the H-1B thing, which I again did not have a much idea about how things work. But through the process, I learned, and yeah, I wrote my GRE, gave my IELTS, applied to universities. And ta-da, I got an admit from Purdue, and I ended up in Purdue for my master's in
Right.
construction management.
That is like a phenomenal student journey story. That's because you're right in many ways, in the sense that civil engineering is such a a stream that is not looked at in terms of like job prospects and all that. Typically, any core engineering for that matter, what happens, I'm a mechanical engineer, and this is something I went through as well, is that core engineering, like mechanical engineering, civil engineering, electrical engineering, uh, these streams are looked down upon in the sense of like placements versus like the fancy jobs that computer science students and EC students end up getting, doing the kind of pay, etc. So especially civil engineering, not a lot of students talk about the opportunities that are there around the world, right?
That's
So
right.
it's
That's right.
like a phenomenally brave step that you've taken, and doing this whole, figuring out all these things and then doing it all by yourself is like is really good. And I think that is the kind of mindset people need to have while looking at abroad, because everything is not really laid out there. Even like, I'm sure you must have faced this time and again in your journey so far, right? Everything is not laid out. There's always uncertainty, yet
That's
you just
right.
keep going on, right? So that's a great example. All right. So you decided to apply. You've applied. You arrived at Purdue. So can you give us a little bit information about your MS Construction Management course? What did you get to learn? How was it different from the kind of education you got in India, etc.?
So, arrived in the US during COVID, about to end. So the first semester was like, did not see anybody on campus. You're like, there's three people on the bus. It was very different. And not all of our classes were online. They started moving in person, so that was nice. So one major difference that I noticed in the education system or the college courses in the US and in India would be how your coursework is designed. So in India, your coursework is mainly based on problem solving. You need to know how to like do 10 different problems with 10 different variations in any subject you take, especially in engineering. It's a lot of problem solving. You don't have a lot of theory. Yes, you need to know your theory, but in the exam, what you're going to be asked is, hey, solve this equation, or how do you arrive at this? What is this? So that's what you're asked. You are never led to think outside of where would you apply this? So I remember in engineering, we had this course on reinforcement structure, not reinforcement, sorry, what retaining walls. And the whole time I'm problem solving, I'm solving. I've spent an entire semester and I didn't know what a retaining wall was in my second year of engineering. And then when I was going through the Tank Bund Road, one day I saw that and my mom was like, they need to like work on this retaining wall or some sort of a comment. And I was like, oh my God, these are retaining walls. I see them all the time. And I never knew what a retaining wall was. So I was very good at how to construct a retaining wall, but not knowing what a retaining wall was. But that's not all bad about Indian education system, because you get to learn a lot. Like Indian engineering, if you go through civil engineering in India, you are amazing. to complete that 4 years of coursework. But in the US, it's very different. In the US, it's about uh, understanding how you would apply it and finding out things on your own. Your professor is not going to solve and show you all the problems. You need to find it out on your own, discover it on your own. And they're always available if you have any questions on these problems. But you need to have the ability to go out there, research, and all of these courses that I took. I remember a lot of our courses did not even have exams. It was all about assignments, writing your research papers.
Right.
So you need to be good at writing. You need to be good at researching. You need to be good at finding things on your own. So these are some important skills that you need to have for, I believe, most of the courses when you come here, because your basics of problem solving in engineering are already very good from your Indian education system. But we lack in writing a good research paper or going out there, finding out stuff. So that's the major difference that I found in the education system in India and
Got it.
US.
Got it. Got it. That's great. That's great. Similar kind of experiences here as well. But in terms of like the courses you took in construction management,
Mhm.
what were your favorite topics? What did you learn from those courses, etc.? If you could remember, I know it's been a while, but if you could remember, shed us a little bit of light on what future students would be learning in construction management. Thank you.
Yeah, so in the US, your education system is very flexible. You need to have to take certain number of courses from certain areas of the university, like from certain departments to fulfill your credit requirement, which would be like at least 4 or 5 courses, and rest of the courses can be anything that you want from the engineering school or from the business school, and you would be good to meet your credit requirements. That's how most universities work, but it could vary from a course to course and your university to university. So I was doing CMT degree, so it was the construction management school at Purdue, and there was a construction engineering management school at Purdue. So I took a few courses from construction management school, construction engineering management school, and then also from the business school at Purdue, and fulfilled my credit requirements. One of the most interesting courses I did was on construction business management. I might be saying the name wrong because don't take me for quote because it's been a while.
Sure, sure.
Um, it was a really great course. Our professor was somebody who has had a lot of business experience, and he had his own business. And the coursework really teaches you how the construction business model works, the different types of companies that you can set up, and how the industry is out there. So that was an interesting course. I think I studied, although I do not apply it in my field of work currently, but it greatly helps you understand how the industry works. And I had a course by Professor Dulcie Abraham on project controls. It was a super intense course. Anybody who took that course would tell you it's a very intense course, but it teaches you a lot on the pre-construction phase of the construction industry. Pre-construction essentially means that the construction phase, which happens, all the contracts, documentation that happens before you start constructing on the field. So that was a really interesting course. And there were a lot of other courses out there, so on sustainability, on integrated construction management, which again, I would not necessarily use it out here in the industry, especially in my field of work. But if you ask me, would you go back and would you not take those courses? I would say no. I would still take those courses because they help you think outside the box. So I would sometimes randomly take courses from the business school, like an entrepreneurship course. So it just teaches you a lot on, it helps you develop a lot of skills because once you get out of the university, you are not going to go back and try to learn something by yourself. That's very rare or hard. So when you're in the university, grab as much as you can, learn as much as you can, because once you're out there, you start your work, you're anyways going to learn a lot of things on your job site, on your field of work. So try out, learn courses which you find interesting, you think the name is interesting, and just go and sit in the class. And a lot of universities also give you an option where you can enroll in a course and stay in the course for the first 2 weeks, see how, if you like the coursework, see how it is, and then you decide to stick with the course for the semester or drop out of the course. So that's a great option that US universities give. So I would say in the first 2 weeks, just try out as many courses as you want. If you find the name of the course interesting, just go and sit in the class and see if you like it and register for it. I also remember at Purdue we had this option for taking courses which would not account for your credit, but you could do the course, which meant there was a course in particular called construction law. It was offered in my last semester, and I really wanted to take the course. But by then,
Right.
I met all my credit requirements. I had good grades going on,
Hmm.
and I didn't want to ruin my grade, and at the same time, I didn't have the bandwidth because I
Right, right,
met all my credit requirements.
right,
So I took up this course, and I had this option where I did not get any credits for it. So
right.
I did not have to do any assignments or give the exam at the end. All I did was attend all the classes, gain all the knowledge, and not worry or stress about giving all the exams part of it. So
Right,
if your
right.
university has an option like that,
Hmm.
look for it, sign up for courses, and also look
Right,
for courses in other departments. Don't just stick to your department. Like,
right, right.
I know industrial engineering could have some interesting courses. The
Absolutely.
business school could have some interesting courses.
Yeah.
So just go out there, look at the courses. You won't go back to your university again, spend
Right,
all the
right,
two
right, right.
years, utilize all your time, and learn as much as you can.
Right, right, right. Okay. So, that was definitely insightful, and yeah, 100% recommend whatever you're recommending, because that is like the right way of exploring the flexibility that university offers. Because the universities here, they're not like typically an engineering school that's walled out there. It's a mix of a lot of schools. It's a proper university, and Purdue, for that matter, is like one of the biggest universities out there. And obviously, it has a business school. It has tons of schools, tons of specializations. People, I think, across all age groups attending these classes. So it's a very fun learning atmosphere, which you'll never get again. Like, you're not going to do a PhD or a double master or something like that after this, right? You're just going to go and work. So that kind of educational experience, student life, is 100% recommended. So now, like, you have been through your MS construction management course, and I think in the middle, I think there was an internship option. I don't know, have you explored the internship option, or did you jump right into, job applications?
I jumped right into job applications.
Right, 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 right.
It's not because I did not want to do an internship.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
At that point, the year I joined, my department suddenly decided that international students can't do an internship.
Oh, okay, okay,
So
okay.
I like
Hmm.
it would be against the law for me to do internship. The
Oh, okay,
department
okay.
did not allow that. So
Fair,
it
fair,
was
fair.
against the department. They wouldn't help you with your
Is that
documentation
is
or
that
anything.
something still going on, or was it particular to your particular? I mean, your.
It was just particular to my batch.
Oh, okay.
So
Damn.
we were
Hmm.
denied an internship.
Mm.
So all my
But then,
focus was graduating early and getting a
graduating.
job. Sorry
Yeah,
to
fair
interrupt.
enough. Maybe you must have had a good break. Maybe you traveled around a bit. I'm not sure. COVID era, I don't know how things worked, but job hunting process, like, how was it? It's not typical campus placements, although there are career fairs. These are not exactly mass recruiting events where people get recruited just like that. So this is
That's
like
right.
this is more of a apply and get job kind of thing. And you're also there's also a time limit, being an international student, getting a job within a certain time period,
That's
and
right.
there are a few constraints like that. But Tell me about your job application process, especially in the perspective of being a construction management graduate with the job availability for construction management people. In that perspective, if you could shed a little bit light on your job experience, job hunt experience, that'd be great.
So, Purdue had one of the largest career fairs for construction management, just a
Yeah,
construction management career fair
yeah,
where we will have 150, 200 companies coming from across the United States
right, right.
for the career fair. And we also had a few more of these career fairs, like industrial roundtables, where it was for everybody, not just
Mm-hmm.
construction.
Mm-hmm.
So, with job hunting as an international student, the first thing that comes up is your H-1B sponsorship, followed by your green card and all of that.
Right.
And you first have to, what I did was I made out a list of companies that would sponsor my H-1B, because it would not make sense for me to spend all the time in a company that's not, and
Not, yeah,
trying to
makes sense.
convince them to do it for me, that
Makes sense.
I
Makes
didn't want
sense.
to put in that effort. So I made
Mm.
out a list for myself for all these companies that uh, sponsor H1B.
Okay.
Uh, and before my career fairs, I would always do my research on what the companies are coming,
Yeah.
who are the people representing the companies,
Mm.
and make notes, and basically attend all of these career fairs.
Yeah.
And the first time you attend these career fairs, you could be super intimidated
Right.
by speaking to so many people.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Uh,
Yep. Yep. That's true.
but yeah, what I would suggest, I was too. I was super
Yeah,
intimidated
yeah, yeah.
too.
And
Uh,
just for the viewers to have an idea of what a career fair looks like, I think my
yeah.
career fair experience, I'll talk about that. Maybe you can add on to it if if yours is any
Mm.
different. So mine was more like we were in this huge seminar hall, your community hall kind of thing, and then there were a lot of companies that have set up their tables and chairs and their brochures and all these people in suit. Sitting right there, probably 5 years, 10 years, 15 years more experienced or more senior to you. And then there are queues at each of these tables, and then
That's right.
you get your chance. You have your resume in your hand, you submit it to them, and then the interview is like spot interview, and they shoot a few questions at you, and then you go about answering. So the first day or the first hour and a half, the first few queues that I stood in were super intimidative. But then I think like you get your sort of your muscle memory or whatever that is sort of builds up, and then you're like you start getting better at it. Is that how it was?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah.
exactly how it was.
Mm,
All these companies come up and then they set their kiosks,
yeah.
and they have lines of students,
Students. Yeah,
and
yeah,
you're
yeah.
in these lines
Yeah.
waiting.
You're competing against your classmates, against PhD students, against
That's
UG
right.
students.
That's
So
right.
yeah, yeah.
And what happens with a lot of these career fairs is bigger companies, they have good marketing team, not marketing, sorry, HR teams,
HR teams. Yeah.
hiring teams. They
Mm,
do their prior research and they know what students are studying at that university.
right.
And there's a high possibility that they have reached out to you or your friends before
Mm,
arriving at a career fair and they would like
right.
to meet you.
Right. Right.
It did
Right.
not happen to me, but I
Mm,
know my friends who were reached out prior with some of the recruiters before they were
mm,
even at the university. Don't get
mm,
discouraged if um, this doesn't happen to you, because there is going to be a lot of people you will be speaking with on a career fair
right.
and a lot of opportunities out there. And
Yeah.
on a career fair, you also need to understand the interviewer's perspective.
Mm,
They are there to find talent. The
right.
fact that they have flown down to your city, your
Mm,
university to interview you and your friends
yeah.
means that they are looking for talent. They
Talent. Yeah.
want good talent to be hired.
Mm, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
So,
Very true.
don't be too nervous,
Mm,
especially in the US, 'cause the conversations are very casual at sometimes.
mm,
They're very relaxed. it's
Yep.
they at a career fair they're not mostly likely going to ask you what are you studying, what are your courses,
Right.
and that's
Right. Right.
that's
Right.
what they're going to ask you, but not technical questions.
Right. Right. Right.
So be relaxed, work on your communication skills,
Right.
and just be relaxed and attend a career fair like you're talking to a mentor or somebody
Mentor.
like a
Hmm.
professor,
Hmm.
and
Makes sense.
that will help you keep your
Right, right.
nerves
No,
calm.
just a perspective. By mentor and professor, it's still like in the US, it's a little it's a semi-professional relationship there. There with undertones of humor, casual banter with professors and everything. It happens a lot. You're not like really like hey, sir, etc. You are open, you ask questions, you don't have to be ashamed of asking dumb questions, stupid questions. They still take it in their stride, and that is the
Yeah,
kind of conversations you end up having with your interviewees as well, interviewers as well.
yeah.
In when you're at your career fair or when you're applying for jobs, it's not very super professional like how it is here with us. We usually end up putting them on a pedestal. Here, you are on pretty much the same ground, and
Yes.
yeah. So that's one thing to keep in mind. Yeah, that's
I agree with what you said, Jay.
mm,
And a lot of times in the interviews, you are talking about your college football, or
yeah,
probably if the interviewer is from the same university, you'd be talking about, oh, did you know about this new pizza place in the
yeah,
university
yeah,
campus?
yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah, absolutely, absolutely,
very
yeah,
casual, so
yep, yep,
don't stress yourself,
yeah, yeah,
especially
yeah.
for your first one. By the second one, you know what to expect.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Um, that's a great insight. So, did you get your first job? Yeah, I mean, your first job is Big D, right? The job you got into is still in there. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And was that out of a career fair or was that outside of a career fair?
It was outside of a career fair.
Right. Got it. Got it. Yeah.
So my career fair attempts have not been successful.
Which is
So
like pretty
don't,
common, right? Even so is
yeah,
mine, right? Now, like 70% of my classmates didn't get a job in the career fair, unlike yeah, what it's the inverse here. So yeah, go ahead, please.
that's right. Like, don't be discouraged if you don't get a job offer in your career fair.
Right.
Uh, I would also suggest another place to find jobs, which I did not look at, but it's a great option.
Mm.
There are a lot of competitions in the US related to construction management. Look
Oh,
for
okay.
them.
Okay.
And at these competitions too, there are companies coming. There are
Mm.
they are looking to hire. You
Higher.
might have to
Yeah.
fly out to a different place wherever they're conducting this
Sure.
competition,
Sure.
but that's a great place to find a job too.
Sure. Sure.
So your question was, how did I land with my job that
First
I'm currently?
job and then shift to the beautiful Salt Lake City. How did that process happen?
I it was all through LinkedIn.
Nah, wow. Yeah.
Take a LinkedIn premium subscription.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Absolutely recommend.
So, all the career fair era gone away, and then now here I am in my last semester with no
Hmm.
job.
Hmm.
Luckily, that's how I planned out that in my last semester I would be taking fewer courses and
Hmm.
I'd focus on job hunt
Job
because
hunt.
it's very crucial for us to find a job in a certain period of time
Hmm.
because of all our visa constraints.
Yes.
Um, and I was super scared at that point because I did not even know how the industry out there in the US is, because I
Hmm.
did not even have an internship, and I was
Right.
anxious, nervous. Will I ever get a job? Do I have to move back?
Right. 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 Right.
Questions running in my head.
Hmm.
So, here's what I did. I made an Excel spreadsheet of all the jobs I would be applying to in a day.
Hmm.
and I would target to apply to at least 50 jobs online on
Wow.
the online portals a day.
Hmm.
And I did that diligently, and like so many rejection emails, my inbox filled with rejection emails. And for
Right.
some reason, I still keep getting the rejection emails after 2 years.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
all those rejection emails and then
Yeah.
cold mailing, emailing people. There was a
Hmm.
website. It was a paid website
Hmm.
where we could get the email IDs of everybody in the industry. You
Right.
just had to put in a company name and you would get an email ID. So
Right.
I used that to my advantage, and then reach out by cold emailing people. I would get a few responses back from there as well.
Right.
And then just connecting with LinkedIn, use LinkedIn Premium for its full use.
Right.
And
Right.
I connected with one of my colleagues at my current company on LinkedIn. And at the same
Hmm.
time, they were looking for somebody, a project engineer position
Right.
in Salt Lake City. And I landed the job. I think I got very
Wow.
lucky with this job.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I mean, I'm sure you were qualified for it though, but yeah. Yeah.
yeah, and at the same time, I got a couple of more offers, and it was all
Hmm.
from LinkedIn. LinkedIn
LinkedIn.
worked for me,
Yeah.
but it could be different for everybody.
Yeah. 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 For
So
sure.
try everything. Don't just stick with one formula.
For sure. For sure. For sure. So The, I mean, the 50 jobs a day, I mean, the last semester itself is a complete nerve-wracking process. But then you have to sort of understand that, there are an ocean of opportunities out there. Uh, so another part of my question was how, like, abundant, like, did your whole class get placed into some or the other job? How abundant are construction management jobs? And also, um, uh, I'm going to reveal this. Pooja here has a neat little flowchart prepared of the construction industry. So she's going to share that with us. That's so kind of her for making it for us. So if you could just quickly give me an overview of the industry and etc. Any sort of insights, that'll be great.
Okay. Your first part of the question was all my
Yeah, yeah. Classmates. Yeah,
batchmates placed
yeah, yeah.
when during my time.
Yeah.
Yes,
Hmm.
during my time, all of us were placed. But
Hmm.
back in the day,
Hmm.
construction management was not a program where we had a lot of students. We just had
Hmm.
11 students in my batch. And
Hmm.
all of us got
Okay,
placed before
got it.
March of that year.
This is because of COVID, but otherwise usually the intake is much larger.
Back in the day, I think Purdue had 20 as a class size limit.
Oh, okay, okay.
And it was my batch where they had 11 because of COVID, and the
COVID.
following batch had 20.
Yeah.
After that, they increased it drastically to 50, or I don't know what it stands at currently at Purdue.
Now
And at the
it's much
same,
higher.
Mhm.
Hmm.
After COVID, after the 1 year of COVID,
Hmm.
all the universities, in fact, for all the departments, they just increase the intake for students in a drastic way.
Yeah.
So we were just 11 people, and yes, all of us got placed.
Hmm.
It was also because of the market conditions. I would definitely
Hmm.
have to say that.
Hmm.
It was post-COVID, just a year after COVID.
Hmm.
So markets were opening up, and it was a good time for us to get a job,
Get a job.
and
Yeah.
all of us got placed.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the market conditions keep varying. You never
Hmm.
know what is going to happen next. So
Hmm.
be prepared for any kind
Yeah.
of market condition.
Sure.
Um, and now I would like to share my screen on this graph that I downloaded from online.
Yeah.
Um, so this explains the construction industry, the key players in the industry.
Hmm.
And the reason I will be going over this is because this will also help you understand the various fields in which, the various areas in which you can look for a job.
You're right.
So, firstly, in a construction project, there is the owner. The owner
Hmm.
is the one funding the project and he wants this structure. Let it be
Hmm.
a hospital building, a school building, a residential apartment. He or she is the one who is going to give all the funding. So that
Right.
person is the key player.
Right.
Now, the owner doesn't know how to build this. Let's say you are
Hmm.
the owner. You don't know how to build a school and what goes into it.
Right.
So you first go to an architect and you ask them, you provide them with your requirements and all of that, all the process, and they're going to design the structure for you. So
Hmm.
there comes your architect. The architect is going to do all the architectural elements of the building,
Hmm.
but so the architect provides you with all the plans for the construction, but they are the ones who design it architecturally. They don't really know what the engineering systems inside the building would be. In the
Right.
US, you have a lot of systems like the electrical systems, the HVAC, which is heating,
Heating
cooling,
and cooling. Yeah.
plumbing, all of those systems, they all need to be in sync. So
Hmm.
the architect then reaches out to their engineering consultants, the
Yeah.
specific engineering consultants. They will have a
Right.
consultant for electrical, they'll have a consultant for civil,
Hmm.
they will have a consultant for mechanical. So there's a
Right.
different consultant involved.
Right.
So they would branch out into electrical, mechanical, plumbing, civil, and all of these.
Hmm. Hmm.
And
Hmm.
these
Hmm.
are all engineers. They're all engineers who will help the architect in designing the building. At the
Right.
same time, consultants, there could be different kinds of interior consultant or the various kinds of consultant
Yeah.
depending upon the building. And
Yeah.
they're also all construction related. So now you can
Hmm.
find your jobs in all of these areas. I don't
Hmm.
know what happened to my screen. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So you can find jobs in all of these firms and areas. You just need
Yeah.
to go out there and look for engineering consulting firms that are hiring.
Hmm.
Now, once the architect is ready with their plans and the owners approved,
Hmm.
they go looking for a person to build the project.
Right.
And that's where the general contractor comes in place. And
Right.
in our world, we call them the GC. And
Hmm.
that's the company I work for.
Okay.
So the
Like these are general
GC's due,
contractors. Hmm.
yes, it's a general contracting firm. So now our duty is to get this building to life and to
Yep.
lift it from the ground.
Yep.
But so we are not the one constructing it. We
Hmm.
will be managing it and making sure that the job is done for you.
Right. 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 Right.
So we will go outside and hire people
Hmm.
or contract people
Hmm.
to do the various trades. Let's
Right.
say there is a trade doing the walls, there is a
Hmm.
trade who is doing the roofing, there's a trade who
Yeah.
is doing the flooring, there's a
Right.
trade who is doing your electrical. So
Yeah.
different trades. So it becomes the GC's duty to handle all of these trades.
Right.
So that is what I come out there and do is manage a job, manage all the contractors, making sure that your project is completed on schedule, on
Right.
time,
Right.
within the budget.
Right.
And
Hmm.
then suppliers, it's generally through the subcontractors
Hmm.
that the supplies come in.
Right.
I would like to add another party here that is also involved in construction would be your inspectors and auditors. In the
Hmm.
US, they have very strict regulations on building codes,
Yeah.
on inspection requirements.
Yeah.
So, at every stage, there's going to be an inspector who would come out onto the job site, inspect if everything's installed per the code, per the
Yep.
plans, per the spec.
Yes.
So, and these guys are also most of the times engineers
Right.
who come out there. So
Right.
now you
Right.
have all these myriad of opportunities where you can look for a job. You can work for an engineering consultant. I don't
Yeah.
know what's happening, sorry.
Yeah. No
You
problem.
can work for an engineering consultant. You can work for a subcontractor, like your mechanical and electrical subcontractors. They hire
Hmm.
engineers because they need to know what the systems are and how it's going to be placed in the building. So they hire a lot of engineers too.
Right. Right. Right.
And when we come to the owner, there is something called the owner's rep.
Yeah.
So the owner not necessarily knows how the building is going to be constructed.
Yes.
He doesn't
Yes.
have, he or she doesn't have the knowledge of it.
Yes.
So they generally hire a third party who oversees all of this construction, and we call
Yeah.
them the owner's rep.
Rep. Okay.
And they are over you, and they make sure that everything is done and everything is
Hmm.
done correctly, and
Yeah.
you're not
Yeah.
messing around with their money.
Right.
So
Right. Right.
you
Hmm.
have job opportunities in all of these places. And
Oh.
most of the times, what happens is a lot of kids just look for the general contracting firm and
Hmm.
ignore all the other firms.
Other firms. Yeah.
But I would say look everywhere for
Everywhere.
opportunities.
No,
That's right.
that's like really insightful because a lot of kids I guide, a lot of the two construction management courses also come from the architecture background, right?
Mhm.
So who have worked in at architecture firms who want to shift into construction management because they understand once you get the subject, it's I typically a manager's work is more of overseeing things, if I'm right, more of
That's right.
coordinating between teams, overseeing things. So that kind of role, even you need not be from a pure civil engineering background, even from an architecture background, is what you can apply the skills. The skills are pretty transferable after pursuing a master's in construction management.
That's absolutely right.
Yeah,
You don't necessarily have to be a civil engineer
yeah.
to get into most of these jobs. Some of the jobs have a requirement that you be a
Hmm.
civil engineer,
Okay,
uh,
okay, okay.
s-
But
like the
but
engineering and the consulting
right.
firms.
Yeah, I mean, can you like as a process engineer, I think you have touched upon it, but what does your day to day entail? How does your day to day look like? That's like, and how does that's one question. Sorry, I'm asking too many questions in a single thing, but
I think it's an interview and you need to ask.
yeah. Yeah. But the second part of the question is, you in the beginning you mentioned that you are pretty much under the training of a project manager. So I reckon your next position would be that of a project manager. And then like how is that hierarchy? How is job growth and those stuff?
So every company has a different hierarchy on
Hmm.
how they are going to do it. So I'm
Yeah.
currently a project engineer.
Yeah.
The next step in could be a senior project engineer,
Hmm.
then assistant project manager, and
Hmm.
then a project manager.
Hmm.
At my firm, it is project engineer and assistant project manager and a project
Hmm.
manager.
Hmm.
So, uh, how
Day to day,
the
how's your
question
day to
be,
day? Yeah.
yeah, day to day, and how
Yeah.
long would it be to become a project
Yeah.
manager?
Yeah.
So that really depends on you, your
Yeah.
skills.
Hmm.
So, as a project manager in the construction industry, it's a lot of responsibility.
Hmm.
You need to manage a lot of things, not just making sure that the project is making money. That's not
Hmm.
just the end goal.
Hmm.
You need to make sure that it's running on schedule. You need to
Yeah.
manage your money, and there's so many players involved in the
Hmm.
in
Hmm.
in the field, like I just showed you. It's very important that you manage all your relationships with these
With them.
people.
Hmm.
So that's also a key thing.
Right.
And when I say that you need to make sure that the project makes money, or the project is on schedule, it's not
Hmm.
something you do like you learn overnight on, okay, this is the
Hmm.
formula for success and this is how I
Yeah.
do and this will
Yeah.
work out. Every job is going to be
Bit
different.
different. Yeah.
So you need to be a good project manager, you need to know how the things on the field work,
Hmm.
how each and every element on the field works, how your contracts work, how the money aspect of it works.
Hmm.
So there's a lot of things that are involved, and
Hmm.
you need to have a holistic understanding of a job to reach that level.
Fair.
And when you feel confident and when your company feels confident that you can
Yeah. You
handle
can
a
handle.
job all by yourself,
Yeah.
that's when you're going to reach that position. And it could be different for everybody.
Yeah.
It could be 3 years for someone, especially
Hmm.
people in the US, since they've grown up with that culture around them,
Yes.
people like
Yes.
that. It
Yeah.
could be 5 years, it could be 10 years. It all depends upon your personal growth and how fast you are learning on the job.
Yeah.
So coming to my day to day of how it looks like, it's very different every day.
Mm-hmm. For sure, for sure.
And
Yeah.
that's what the beauty of it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
So currently I work on a project. It's a commercial project for the transit guys up here.
Mm,
Um, and we have 40 subcontractors, so it's my duty to manage most of the coordination work with
mm,
the subcontractors, the architects, and the engineers.
mm,
Make sure all the documentation is right. And so currently we are in a phase of completing the project, which we also call as closeout. So
yeah.
it has a different set of requirements. We go out on the
Mm,
field, make sure that everything is installed per the
mm,
plan, per the
mm.
specs, and making sure that everything's passing the inspections. If
Right.
there are any deficiencies that we see on the site, making sure that they
Yeah.
get fixed by the by your contractors.
Yep.
So that's what I'm currently doing. But in the beginning of the project, you would be working a lot with the architect on
Mm,
making sure that everything for the job, like all the material that you are using for the job, is approved.
right.
And there will be a lot of questions that arise because the architect's plans are not always going to turn out like when we construct it, there are going to be challenges
Yeah.
on the field. So we need it becomes my responsibility to make sure that it's documented. In US,
Right.
everything to be documented.
Documented.
You
Yep.
can't That's right. You
Mm,
can't go out there and even use a slightly different shade of paint without taking the approval from
approved.
the
Yeah.
architect.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everything needs to be documented. If you're
Yeah.
installing a plumbing pipe 1 inch from where it was aside from where it's supposed to be, you
Mm,
need to get it
yeah.
documented.
Mm,
So a lot of it is documented. A lot of it is abiding by your contracts,
yeah.
managing your relationships with your subcontractors, managing
Yeah.
your relationship with your architect owner.
Yeah.
When I was in school, they used to say that the construction industry is small, and I never
Mm,
understood what it meant. There's so many
mm,
people out there. What do you mean
yeah.
by the
Yeah.
construction
Yeah.
industry
Yep.
is
Yep. Yep.
small? I understand it now, why
Mm,
they say it,
mm,
because you are going to repeat working with one of the same owners, you're going to work with the same architects again, you're going to work with
yep.
your
Yep.
same subcontractors again, not
Mm,
necessarily in your next job, but throughout the period that you are in the industry.
yeah.
So it becomes very important for you to manage those relationships with all these folks.
Yeah. Got it. Got
So
it.
overall, a day is very different.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm sure project to project, I think you'll have a whole set of new things that you have not done before, new challenges.
That's right.
Yeah. So, I mean, that looks like a very dynamic role, and I think, yeah, you need to be someone who can embrace that kind of challenges, that kind of uncertainties in, job life, and that also makes it exciting. I don't think it's boring to be a project engineer. So yeah, that's great. And I had another question, like, how do the salaries range, for like a fresh graduate versus 3 to 5 years of work experience? How is that growth?
It varies a lot depending upon your
Yeah,
location,
yeah,
your years of experience.
yeah.
Uh, so it could uh, be anywhere between 70 to 90
Huh.
thousand US dollars.
Then you
Um,
graduate.
that's right, that's
Yeah.
right.
Hmm.
And sometimes I've also seen situations where uh, people have experience in India, uh,
Huh.
3 or 4 years of experience in India, and they might not necessarily start off with that the salary what they would expect for a three or
Right,
four
right,
year experience,
right, right.
but within 6 months they would get like good raises and
Good
promotions
raises. Yep.
because how they would perform. So your performance
Yeah.
matters
Yeah. Yeah.
uh, with your experience too.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, starting off, depending on your location, it could go anywhere between
Yep.
70 to
Got
90, and also the type of role. there are some roles called field engineers and some are
Hmm.
project engineers. So it varies between.
Got it. Got it. Got it. And usually, um, like, do you have some sort of project completion bonuses that you get, or how quick are like salary hikes in the industry?
Project completion bonus, it depends upon your firm on
Firm.
how
Yeah.
they are with profit sharing.
Right.
Some firms I've seen share their annual profit equally with the entire company. I've
Hmm.
seen some firms where they share the profit on the job on you're working on with
Yeah. Yeah.
the team.
Yeah.
Uh, uh, and some it's very rare
It
that
varies.
companies
Yeah.
do that, but they
Yeah.
do it. There are
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
companies who do it. I know companies
Yeah.
that do it,
Yeah.
and some companies also help by give what's it called, ESOPs, employee
Yes.
stock
Yes.
options.
Stock options. Yeah.
So they give that too. So it depends on
Right.
company to company.
Right. 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 Got it. Okay, great. So that's those are some nice insights. In 2025, do you think people should choose construction management? How do they go about choosing their university? Is it university reputation obviously matters. Like going to Purdue is definitely recommended, but then it is competitive. So do I choose universities based on locations? Uh, etc. Like first part of the question is construction management still recommended, and do I choose universities based on location?
Okay. Um, Construction management still recommended? Yes, it is
Yeah,
definitely recommended.
yeah,
Construction is always a growing industry.
yeah.
We are always looking for people.
Hmm,
I've never seen, at least in my company, where they are not hiring. They're always
hmm,
hiring for
hmm,
new people.
hmm,
But you also need to understand that right now I've seen that a lot of people are applying for the program.
hmm,
Every school has 150, students. That is
hmm,
crazy.
hmm.
And you also need to remember you're graduating with the undergrad crowd as well.
You're right.
So that could also be around 200. So imagine there are 300 students graduating from your school, and there's so many
Hmm,
schools across the US.
hmm.
So the competition is also high on
Right,
a student's perspective.
right.
On the industry perspective, we do have a lot of openings, but your
Hmm,
competition is also going to be really high.
right.
It's all going to be you improving your skill set, you standing out in a crowd of thousands of people.
Yeah.
Uh, so one way to tackle this would be, I know a lot of people watching this are civil engineering grads,
Yeah.
and you can look for programs in the US that are not necessarily construction management, or probably in an engineering school, you can do
Hmm,
like construction management and a structures course
yeah, yeah,
together. So that
yeah.
way you are broadening your horizon, and you're like looking for structural jobs and also construction management
Con
jobs. So that way
right,
you have both options. And
right,
structures
right,
is not one thing, just one thing,
right.
right? You know all the subjects you have studied in civil engineering. There's
Civil
so many
engineering.
branches.
Yeah.
You can do structures, water resource engineering. You can go into
Right.
sustainability. There are so many
Hmm.
aspects.
Yeah,
What's
yeah.
this other one I was going to say? Um, LiDAR technology
Hmm.
and I'm not able to recollect the word, but
Yeah.
there transportation engineering.
Yes, yes.
So as a civil
Transportation.
engineer, you know what your options are. So I
Yeah.
would say get like a dual masters at the same time, or masters with a specialization in both, or take a few
Yeah.
courses from your structures school or transportation engineering school.
Actually, that
Bec-
brings me to a question. Sorry to interrupt you, but that
Mhm.
brings me to a crucial question where, okay, as a civil engineering graduate, should I only look for construction management jobs, or should I like look at an MS in, sorry, construction management degrees, or should I look at an MS in civil engineering that also offers construction management as a specialization, but then I can take electives or has core courses in like structures or other specializations?
You can do it however you want to do it.
Oh, that's great.
Uh,
That's great. Hmm.
so I'll have to add to this.
Hmm.
You already have a civil engineering degree.
Right.
so you're already a civil engineer. But
Right.
at the same time, like how if you graduate from a medical school or an architecture
Mm.
school, you are a stamped architect or you
Yeah.
are officially allowed to practice. That's not
Yeah.
how it works in engineering.
Engineering. Yeah.
Uh, so there is an exam called PE, which is called
Mm.
Professional Engineer.
Right.
Uh, it's like an official certification that you are like an
Right.
engineer. So for
Right.
the
Right.
first step of that would be FE, which is Fundamentals of Engineering.
Right.
I would honestly recommend if you're in India and you're
Yeah.
already preparing for something like GATE,
Yeah.
continue preparing FE and
Mm.
write that exam. It's always
Mm.
going to help you out
Yeah.
in the US.
Yeah.
So once you have that, let's say you have your FE exam and you
Yeah.
all just do a construction management course, you
Yeah.
can still apply for civil engineering firms because at the end of the day,
Mm.
you are a civil engineer, you have a
Yeah.
degree in civil engineering,
Yeah.
you have given this exam,
Exam
you have enough
certification.
evidence that you
Yeah.
are, and provided that you
Yeah.
do your interviews and all of that,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
can apply for this job. Um, I would suggest, but there's another hindrance for us
Mm.
international students in the
Mm.
terms of you need to apply to jobs only in the area of your study.
Yeah.
So tackle that, I would say just take a few courses from your structural school,
Structure. Yeah.
structure management, I mean
Yeah.
strength of materials or whatever course is being offered. So that way
Yeah.
when your visa stuff and all of that happens, you will have enough evidence that yes, I have done a related degree in
Related.
the US.
Sure.
Uh, but if you're sticking to construction management, it
Mm.
doesn't matter. You
Yeah.
can go to any school, do a degree,
Yeah.
and you can graduate and you can
Yeah.
get a job.
Yeah.
It's just to have options and more opportunities in the job market.
Yep.
Just like go to an engineering
No,
school and
that's actually
take.
sound advice. That's sound advice. Keeping your options open
Mhm.
is always good. Sound advice. Do locations matter? Where do I study? Does it matter? Like studying in Florida versus let's say studying in West Lafayette. How does that
Yes.
matter? Yeah.
I would definitely say location matters.
Yeah.
For example, currently I'm in Salt Lake City, Utah.
Yeah.
Um, my company is pretty big in this region, and we do a lot of hiring. And a lot of our hires are from the universities around the valley. There is something called BYU,
Yeah.
UVU,
Yeah.
University of Utah. They take a
Yeah.
lot of students from here.
Mm.
Now, if somebody in Florida and if you go to the career fair and you say you're from BYU Idaho or BYU Provo, it's most likely the person taking your interview is also from the same university and they get
Yeah.
super excited. They're like,
Yeah.
oh, that's really cool. Do you know this
Yeah.
professor? You have
Yeah.
that rapport build up
You're
already.
already building that rapport, and yeah,
That's
that matters
right.
a
That
lot.
the
That matters a
connections
lot. The
already
connection
made,
matters.
like,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
So that's a huge advantage
Yeah.
of having studying in these universities, and if you want to go to join a company in this
Mm.
valley and this region.
Mm. Mm.
Now, let's say I went to this university called UVU.
Yeah.
I don't get a job in any of the companies in Salt Lake.
Yeah.
If I apply to a company in Florida,
Yeah.
it's not necessary that somebody sitting in Florida knows what UVU is.
Yes.
Similarly, there could be so many other universities in Florida and that
Yeah.
are remote and local
Yeah.
that you would have a great opportunity in finding a job in Florida,
Yeah.
but not necessarily in Utah or somewhere very
Yeah.
far from
For sure.
Florida.
For sure. Yeah.
So that happens with smaller universities or universities
Mm.
that are not popular. I can't say smaller universities because every
Yeah.
university has a great program.
Yeah.
They have a great curriculum, great structure.
Yeah.
It's all about the name tag or how
Mm.
well known it is,
Yeah. Yeah.
what I would say.
Mm.
And Purdue was in a very small town called West Lafayette. There's
Yeah.
nothing but the college town.
Yeah.
But because of the name, because of the reputation,
Yeah.
wherever I would apply in the US, everybody would know that,
Know
hey,
about it.
she's
Yeah.
from Purdue. The
Purdue.
program there is really
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And most likely somebody studying, working there was also from Purdue.
Yeah.
So that helped me.
Yeah.
Similarly, I believe for a lot of other colleges which have
Mm.
a good reputation in the industry
Mm.
would stand out that way when they're applying all across the
Yep.
country.
Yep.
Um, so if Utah is still a smaller region, but if you take California or Texas or
Mm.
places which are very dense, there are a lot of universities, a lot of
Mm.
companies,
Mm.
then probably going to a university which is not very famous by the brand name,
Yeah.
you might still get a good job in
Good
your
job.
local area. But at the same
Okay.
time, you need to understand there's a lot more competition in.
Competition there. Yeah, yeah, for sure.
That's right.
So in terms of like states in the US, you just mentioned California and Texas because they have a lot of population at the same time, a lot of construction activity going on there.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
are there any other states like let's say like North Carolina or let's say Georgia or somewhere in the east? Are there any like top states where most of the people go for jobs in construction field?
What I personally noticed is that a lot of people want to go to places like California and Texas,
Yeah,
but if you remove that from the equation, you
yeah.
have jobs everywhere in the US, everywhere.
Mm.
Like, so that's what
Mm-hmm.
I tell my friends that I can move to any part of the US and I will
Yeah,
find a job. I don't have to
yeah,
worry about, hey, I
yeah.
just need to stay in one location, right?
One
There's
location, yeah.
construction happening everywhere.
Everywhere.
And there are a lot of remote jobs as well, like far
Mm.
from the cities, 2 hours, 3 hours
Mm.
from the major
Mm.
cities, where they are setting up some kind of an industry or a dam or
Mm.
a ship lift system. It could be all of these heavy infrastructure projects which are in
Right,
remote
right,
locations, and you
right.
find jobs there. And
Yeah,
jobs like these, you also get a lot of additional added bonuses and benefits
yeah.
for working in these remote
In the
locations. So,
remote areas, and then your cost of
mhm,
living is low. You
that's
end up
right.
saving a lot of money there. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. So there are a lot of options the companies looking, and these kind of jobs that are in remote locations are always looking for talent. Reason
Mm.
being is that uh, people don't necessarily want to go to these locations because they'll have to be away from their families, and
Right.
a lot of times they also don't have good connectivity.
Yeah.
But if you're in initial stages of your career and you want to make some good money,
Yeah.
it's a great opportunity for
Opportunity. Yeah.
to go to these places. It's about
100%.
what you're looking for.
100%. All right. I have asked you a lot of questions actually. I kind of you know as an advisor, it's my duty to give students in-depth information rather than more like a surface level information. So what I usually do is I talk to experts like you who have been in the field for some time, have been through the
Thank you for
process,
calling me an
etc.
expert.
Yeah. So I end up talking and I end up learning from them so that I can sort of tell people what to do, what not to do, what to look out for. But hearing from the horse's mouth, I felt was always good. So I decided, hey, anyways, I'm asking all my friends these questions while I'm calling them, so I might as well record them and put it online so people could benefit. So, we've almost reached to the conclusion of, I think, the hour-long session, fireside chat with an expert. So, any tips for, uh, a civil engineering, architecture guy, girl who's like thinking about, or an early career professional who's thinking about getting into the US for through MS Construction Management or some specialized degree within civil engineering. So, any tips, anything that 2000 Pooja in 2019 would have known to improve her process? Yeah.
Uh, I wish Pooja in 2019 knew all of these things that she
Yeah.
knows now.
Yeah.
Firstly, don't let anybody discourage you or say what you cannot do. And don't let yourself say that to yourself that you can't do something.
Yeah.
If you want to do something, go ahead and do it.
Hmm.
Don't limit your options to construction management because
Hmm.
there's a lot of information out there about this one particular course currently. You
Yeah.
don't overlook the other courses.
Yeah.
Dig deep into it.
Yeah.
What the things that matter are, let's say you're interested in any course,
Yeah.
see if it's a STEM course because that
Yep.
will help you with that 3 years of
Yep.
extension on your visa, and apply to it because
Yeah.
right now there are a lot of people in CM, but
Hmm.
the other four courses are not yet that populated.
Yeah.
So
By
look into
other core
these.
courses, I'm sorry, by other core courses, you mean like structures or also like water resource management, transportation engineering? Do you think there are jobs out there for those streams as well?
Yeah, environmental engineering,
Oh, okay.
sustainability, and then
Hmm.
transportation. There are jobs out there.
Hmm.
Currently, there are not a lot of people.
Hmm.
Uh, the thing with construction management is you can work in any of these fields.
Yeah.
So there's
Versatile. Yeah.
obviously a larger demand
Hmm.
than the other niche fields, but
Hmm.
there is definitely going to be a demand. If you're a good
Hmm.
engineer, people want you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
For sure.
check out those fields, check out the
Hmm.
prospects in those fields,
Right.
and apply to those. Or it could be anything in architecture, which I don't have a lot of knowledge about.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
could have specialization in something,
Yep.
apply to it. And
Yep.
but when you're applying, also make sure you know what kind of companies you would end up getting a job in
Yeah.
and what kind of companies are out there. Don't go
H1B
so niche
sponsorship and
that
all that.
you don't have options.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or so look for other options too.
Yep.
If you're really, really passionate about something, I'm pretty sure you're going to be very good at it.
Yep.
So don't be afraid, don't self-doubt, apply, come to the
Yep.
US. STEM
Yep.
extension gives you 3 years.
3 years. Yep.
That's a pretty good time for you to look for companies and understand what you really like.
Yes. 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 That's sound advice. Well, thank you so much. So, I've learned great deal, and I hope a lot of students will be watching these videos too. Learn a lot from this. And in case, I mean, it'd be great if you can share that little slide. I'll just put it up on the, on the comments below.
Mhm.
And maybe we can do another session sometime later based on the questions I get from the students or people who watch. Maybe we could do a quick session later sometime soon. Yeah,
Sure, sure.
yeah,
Yeah, I hope this video helps out a lot of students out there,
yeah,
uh, and helps you make your mind up to come to the US or for that matter, any other country,
yeah,
and explore your opportunities.
yeah. Thank you so much, Pooja. Thank you for taking your time out and smiling your way through the interview and giving us so much information. It has been great. It has been great hosting you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jay. Thank you for this interview and thank you for
Yeah,
this opportunity.
yeah, yeah.